So $25 an hour is what I was charging when I started this handyman business that I have right here, right now, 4.5 years ago. That's an embarrassing number, and it should be embarrassing for you if you're near that number, but the good news is you can just charge more. But I started, like I said, at $25 an hour. Now, a little bit later on, after I learned a little bit about the industry and saw what people were willing to pay, I thought I was super fancy, man, all the way up at a $50 trip minimum, and that covered the first hour of work. And then after that first hour, it was an additional $25 an hour. And again, that's an embarrassing number. I shouldn't have been at that number, and neither should you. If you are, you should be charging more. And then a little while later, as luck would have it, when I had plenty of work going on, a property manager called me and asked me if I could do a really quick and easy job for him. And I was booked out a little bit, so I just said, you know what, I've got an $80 trip minimum. And I thought they would say no, because I really didn't have room for him in my schedule. But she didn't bat an eye. She just said yes right away, and I was like, interesting, okay. Started working for her for these $80 trip fees, plus I would charge additional on top of that. And then a little bit while later, I said, you know what, if I could do 80, I wonder what the ceiling is. So I started emailing property management companies and offering my services at a $100 trip fee, and a couple of them said yes. And then I thought again, I said, well, shoot, if 100 doesn't turn them off, then what could I do at, say, 125? And I emailed some more, and I got one more, even at a $125 trip fee. And then finally, in December of last year, I finally bumped up all the way to a $150 trip fee. And you can look at that as a trip fee, you can look at that as a trip minimum, but regardless, I don't go anywhere now for less than $150. And to many of you, that seems absurd. But to me, that's just what I've found is the actual market value of the service that I offer to the clients that I offer my services to. Now, one of the problems I think we have going on here is a lot of handymen are trying to price their work at what they would be happy to pay for the work. So here you are, Mr. Handyman, you're middle income, middle America, and you're looking at what you would be willing to pay for somebody to come, let's say, fix your leaky sink. And you look at that and you go, well, I mean, you know, I'm making $18 an hour at my 40-hour-a-week job. So I really wouldn't want to pay anybody. I feel like I'm pretty skilled and I work hard. So I wouldn't want to pay anybody more than, I don't know, let's call it $25 an hour to come and do that same work to my sink. So we're charging our work at the price that we would be happy to pay for it. But what we don't understand is we are not our ideal client. Our ideal client is somebody who makes much more money than us, who values their time enough that they'd rather pay somebody else to do the easy work that they could do themselves if they just Googled or YouTubed it. So really that first mistake we make is just trying to price our work at what we would pay for it instead of understanding that we are not our ideal client. And one story I think that may help you understand that there is a client for every price, and it's absolutely true. There is a client for every price. There are $500 an hour handymen right here in Tucson, I guarantee you. I've never met them, but I know they're here. And there are $25 an hour handymen here in Tucson, and in fact, I know of at least one $10 an hour cash under the table handyman right here in Tucson. And perhaps to drive this point home that there is a client for every price, let's step outside of the handyman world and let's look at perhaps opening up a car dealership. So let's look at two extremes of this car dealership. And extreme number one is going to be, this dealership is going to sell nothing but $30,000 Hondas. And because you're selling a relatively affordable, small $30,000 Honda, you're able to sell 1,000 of them a year. So now your revenue for that year is $30 million. And then at the other extreme, you're very, very different. You've said to yourself, hey, you know what? I only want to sell $1 million sports cars. So you can do that, right? You could totally open a business where you're selling $1 million sports cars. But in Tucson, maybe you can only sell 30 of those per year. So now you've got $30,000 Hondas, you're selling 1,000 of them a year at $30 million revenue. And then over here you've got $1 million sports cars and you're selling 30 a year for the same $30 million revenue. So both of you, as business owners, have the exact same revenue. Now, to sell these sports cars, you're going to need to really wine and dine and be super fancy for your clientele. And over here with the Hondas, maybe you don't need to be as fancy, but you're going to need to be able to accommodate quite a few more people coming through the property. And then in the end, you find that you've got the same margins, you're basically running the same business, you're equally successful business owners with two very different business models. But here's the biggest point I want to drive home. And this point is that there was in fact a client for every price, and there was a valid business model for both ways of doing business. You can do luxury, or you can do general standard run-of-the-mill stuff for the general public, and both of you are valid business owners, and you both found that there was in fact a client for every price. And that's exactly what I've done with my business, is I've set my pricing, I've set my services, and then I've found the clients that like my pricing and my services as a complete value package. Now, I could be cheaper and I could get a lot more clients, or I could be more expensive and I could get fewer clients, but in the end, I'm running a solid business that's paying me 6 figures a year, and that's the bottom line. So that's what we're doing here, is we're choosing our clients by setting our pricing and our services. And if we charge too much, then we're going to lose volume. If we charge too little, we're going to lose margin. And our job as business owners, once we've set our pricing and our services, is to make sure that we put them in that sweet spot where the pricing and the volume and the margins all come together into a beautiful business. And speaking of businesses, most home service businesses fail within the first year, and the reason usually is because they're not charging enough. Every time you see that handyman working 80 hours a week, always busy but always struggling financially, I can promise you that's the handyman that's going to fail. He's struggling financially because he isn't charging enough, and chances are he's not able to pay his taxes, he's not able to maintain his insurance, he's not able to maintain his vehicle, he's not able to spend time with his family or to invest in his own household or into his own future because he's too busy out there working at too low of a rate. And I can tell you right now, he's not the only one suffering. His family is suffering because they never see him. His friends are suffering because they never see him. And when his business fails, not only will his friends and his family and all of the other people that love him that he loves, not only will all of those people continue to suffer, but when his business fails, his clients will now suffer too, because instead of charging enough money to have a worthwhile business and keeping his clients happy, instead of doing that, he's now gone out of business, and now his clients are basically screwed, because I can tell you one thing: if you need to go find yourself a good, reliable handyman today with fair pricing, they're nowhere to be found. You're going to go through 9 of the opposite of that before you finally land on the one who does quality work at a great price, reliably, not on drugs, and is generally just a good, safe business to do business with. You're just not going to find that anymore, so you've actually done your clients a disservice by not charging enough to run a quality business, to keep yourself in business, to continue providing that great service and great value to your clients. So now, of course, the question becomes, what is a fair rate for a handyman to charge? Well, that's going to vary dramatically from city to city, but I can tell you one thing: in my opinion, a fair rate for a handyman to charge in any given city is going to be the rate that allows him to provide for himself and his family with dignity in that city. And if your prices are cheap, people will assume you are too. And there is absolutely zero dignity in undercutting yourself and undercharging your clients so that you can go out of business while your family suffers. Zero dignity in that. So stop pricing based on what you'd be happy to pay, and start pricing based on what your clients actually value your work at, and at a price that allows you to raise your family with some dignity. And speaking of the value of your work, here's another thing that you really need to keep in mind when you're setting your pricing, and that is to stop charging hourly. No matter how you look at it, I've heard all the arguments. Charging hourly disincentivizes you getting better and better and better at your job, and it incentivizes laziness and inefficiency. Because, let's take a faucet for example. So you got a faucet, and let's say that faucet swap, the value to that client who lives in, let's say, a $400,000 home, and he makes $200,000 a year, and the value to him for you to come change that faucet is $300. So you can do $300 and change that faucet in 30 minutes, or you can charge $300 and change that faucet in 3 hours. Now, in one scenario, you're making far more money than you are in the other scenario. And that is not possible with hourly. If you're charging, let's call it $100 an hour, then you're going to want to take 3 hours to change that faucet. You see, every job we do has an intrinsic value to the client that we're doing the job for. And our job is not to set a fair hourly rate, but to understand the value of the completed job to that client, and then to be as efficient as we can. And there's a whole other pillar in the future for efficiency that we're not even going to dive into yet. But if we can get as efficient as we can, if we're not charging hourly, and if we are charging enough for our work, then the more efficient we get, the more money we make. The more money we make, the more secure our family is. And the more secure our family is, the better job we've done as providers. And finally, honestly, handyman work is a luxury. Anybody who's hiring you to do this work, they could do it themselves. Any average intelligence American adult can Google or YouTube how to fix a leaky toilet and do that work themselves. So right off the bat, the service you're providing is a luxury, and there's nothing wrong with charging luxury prices for luxury work. And the answer to the question, what makes you think it's okay for you to charge as much as a doctor? The answer to that question is twofold. Number one, because I work harder than the doctor. I work harder and longer and give more of myself to my profession than a doctor. At least that's true for me. And number two, the reason I do my work is for my family, and my family is not less important than a doctor's family, and they do not deserve less security than that doctor's family deserves, and that's why it's okay for me to charge as much as your doctor's charging. So don't forget, there's a market for a Honda Accord, there's a market for a Rolls-Royce, and your job as a business owner is to choose which one of those you're selling and then build your business around that accordingly. And that's pillar one. Money talks, charge more. I love you guys, I hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.